what's up, and welcome back to the Alpha Girl Confidence Podcast. This is episode 194, and I'm your host, Shay Haddo. So in today's episode, we got a recruiting masterclass on our hands. So I sat down with Shaun Soderling, who is the head coach of the Brescia women's soccer team. So in this episode, we dove deep into so many things around college recruiting. We talked about how to build your brand in order to stand out, what college coaches look for both on and off the field, and the importance of character when they're looking to recruit players. We talked about the importance of building relationships with coaches, starting the relationship early and really cultivating that relationship. And we talked about how to use highlight videos in order to get coaches to come watch you play. So Shaun dropped all the knowledge on this episode. It's also a super fun conversation. So if you like to be entertained, you're going to love this episode. Make sure you grab a pen and paper because you're going to want to make sure to take notes on this. So whether you're a parent, a player, regardless of your sport, regardless of where you're at in your recruiting journey, this episode is going to be highly valuable. Also, make sure you check out the show notes below where we will link the graphics and all the schedule for Shaun's tour. Shaun is touring around the country going to ID camps, so make sure you check that out because he might be coming to a city near you. And if he is, make sure you reach out, introduce yourself, meet him. He's an amazing person, so you won't want to miss the opportunity. But above all, I hope you enjoy the episode and get a lot out of it. Shaun the Master, welcome to the podcast. This is what, your second appearance?
It is. Yes.
Second appearance. It's been a while, probably like, man, a year and a half at least.
We were still in lockdown.
So yeah,
during,
that was
during COVID. Yeah.
Okay.
And it like that feels like it was so long ago, but it's like, oh, that was just.
It was only like a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Although I don't know if we're like fully out of it yet, but like,
right.
I just remember we were at our old house and Casey had built the Zoom office in the background. So it's like, yeah, it has been a while.
Yeah. Speaking of, like, if you guys are listening, like go check out the YouTube because Shaun, like if you don't even need an introduction when you're watching YouTube because you can tell what school you coach for and everything. But give us like a 1 minute, like what is Shaun about? What does Shaun do? All that good stuff.
I'm literally going to set my clock because I'm going to get this.
Yeah, because that's why I had to give you a time limit because you'll go like off.
Yeah,
so 1 minute.
So 1 minute about my school and what I'm about.
Yep.
Ready, set, go. Well, I'm Shaun Soderling. I'm the head women's soccer coach at Brescia University in Owensboro, Kentucky. We're at NAIA school. I've been there. This upcoming fall 22 will be my third year. When I first got hired, the pandemic started the next week. I'm all about recruiting. I'm all about relationships. I'm all about bringing the best out of kids and creating this atmosphere that it's fun to learn in and it's fun to work hard. Because I think the more success you have, the more fun you're going to have. And the more fun you have, the more success you're going to have. And so, I also have a podcast that's called Soccer Chat. We have over 200,000 listeners, which Coach Shay was on many years ago, which seems like it wasn't that long ago. You can check it out anywhere that you get the same podcast as Coach Shay's just by going to Soccer Chat. We have a Wednesday night Q1A1. You just got to follow the hashtag Soccer Chat on Twitter or on Twitter at ChatSoccer, SOCCR. There's no E because somebody took it. And that means that there are 5 seconds left in this minute. Shay, I am so happy to be here. Let's get it popping. 59 seconds now. Look at that. 59:82. You can't.
Oh my gosh. I've never heard an intro like that. That was seamless. 59:82. That was seamless, Shaun. Like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And I feel like you kind of hit everything.
Will you tell my mom that was me actually using my broadcasting degree? How about that?
Oh, you have a broadcasting degree. That makes a lot of sense why you're so
what's funny is when I tell people that, they're like so surprised. They're like, wow. No. And I'm like, well, what would you think that my degree would be in, Shay?
Oh, that makes total sense to me. You're great at it.
Because that's the thing. I'm like, well, like if you didn't think I had a broadcasting degree, what type of major would I be?
Comedy.
Ooh, secret low key thing. I want to do an open mic night. Like that's like a bucket list. Like I have like a stand-up routine, like ready to go.
Well, maybe if we have time, you can give us a stand-up routine podcast style.
Ooh, oh man, I gotta.
But I don't want to
read the crowd. I gotta read the crowd.
Yeah, we'll see how the crowd's doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to embarrass anybody. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But anyways, so yes, you are as we're talking about the master of recruiting, but specifically, in my opinion, the master of relationship building within recruiting, which is really what I want to get into today, because I feel like there's so many kids that are going to showcases and ID camps, and they're like, Shay, like, what do I do? How do I deal with the pressure? What are coaches looking for? And I'm like, yo, I'm not a college coach, so let's talk to one, right? So let's get right into it as far as that goes. So let's say you're at a showcase, Shaun. You're at a showcase. What are you looking for? And we'll talk specifically. We'll start with on the field and then we'll go with off the field. But what are you looking for as a college coach and a player?
So on the field, what I have is almost kind of like a checklist. So kind of like how kids have when finding a college, they have a checklist. I'm interested in small classes or big campuses, whatever. I have the same thing. So what I've got is based off our quote unquote style of play. Each role has something that we really need them to be good at, or this player needs to have these traits to play in our. I even hate using the word system, but just play in our
Right.
program. So when I go, I take that checklist and I've done it long enough now that I don't have to actually take the checklist with me like I used to. And so I can watch a kid and go, oh yeah, like of a holding midfielder. Okay, let's say there's 5 traits that I look for. Okay, they got all 5. Yep, that's somebody who could come in right away. Or is it they got 3 of the 5 traits and we could work with them on the other 2 and develop those other 2 traits, and then what could they do for us? So I really have this kind of mindset of all right, I got to look for these traits that you may have. And I know sometimes in soccer, especially on the attacking side of the ball, you may not get the ball every single time to be able to showcase all that stuff. So you've
Right.
got to kind of you have to kind of imagine, do I think a kid could do this? And then
Yeah.
what I also add into that is, okay, of the current players we have in our program, does this player A go to the top of the list? Is this player somebody who could come in right away, like, off of the sideline? We don't say bench, we say game changers. Are they somebody who would
Yeah.
be like one of those first game changers?
Yeah.
Or like, is this somebody that it's going to take us a few years to develop? Or is this somebody who we just don't know if they're going to see any of the field? And at the same time, like, is this person an upgrade in any of those spots, whether it's a starter, game changer, training player? Is this person an upgrade? And you know, so now it's like, okay, I think this person fits for how we play. Now thinking about the players on our team currently who are around them, okay, these traits that you have, does it affect? Because like, if you have a number 10 who loves to be the person who can go score and do all this stuff, but yet you have a number 9 who's like, I can get the goals, like just gotta get me the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That really doesn't mesh that well. Or is that something that maybe
True.
that 10's like, yeah, I'm really the only person that can score on my team, so I just got to do it. So there's a lot of details into it, and I may be more detailed than others. But for me, it's that checklist, and if you match those traits, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not one of those. I know there's a lot of coaches that have like, well, I need an outside midfielder to do these 25 things. I'm looking
Right.
for like maybe 5 to 7 things. Like I'm not going
Okay.
all out looking for like every single thing. But if you can get these 5 traits that,
Yep.
hey, this is something we want you to do. So I think if you simplify that, it's super easy. And it's for kids too. Like if they're wondering like, man, like what's a college coach looking for? Well, look at the role that you play and ask your actual coach, like, what is it you want me to be able to do in this role? And more than
Love
likely,
it.
that's going to be what a college coach wants you to do.
Yeah, I love that because I don't think very often players and parents think about like the role. Like you're not just
Mhm.
looking for someone that can do X, Y, and Z. You're looking for a certain like what role are they in, and each role
Yeah.
probably has different characteristics, obviously, that you're looking for. So I love that question of just like ask your coach, like what do you need me to do? Like what is something that I should be really focusing on in my role? And that's something that anybody could do and then go out and actually execute it.
And it's the same thing, like, it's not a pet peeve of mine, but like the number one question that I hate, even though I hate it, I love it, is what do I put in my highlight video? Well,
Ah,
what does your role do?
yeah.
What's being asked of you in that role on the field? Showcase that. Don't just put every goal that you scored. Don't just put
Yes.
every save that you make. What is it that your coach asked you to do, or what that college coach or a college coach asked somebody to do in that role? That's what you showcase. That's what you show. So yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with that question. I hate
Yeah.
it because I get it so much, but I love answering it. And most people are like, I never thought about that. So you don't just want to see all the goals? I do want to see all the goals, but like I want to see that you can do other stuff too.
Well, that's the thing is it's like it's looking at the a player that's a three-dimensional player versus just a two-dimensional player. Like
Right.
an outside back, it's not just their job to win tackles. Like there's so many other things. So it's like actually I'm thinking about like diversifying your portfolio, right? It's like
Yeah.
in your highlight reel, it's like you got to diversify your portfolio and show all of the things that your role is supposed to do and show you executing in those things. So I don't think that's something I've ever
Do we
really
have matching rings?
heard.
That's
No,
my ADD kicking
close,
in.
close. No,
Okay.
mine's black and gold.
Okay.
Just
Mine's
so,
just black and carbon fiber.
yeah, there you go. Just off topic, Shaun. You just went totally off.
Well, were you married last? Yeah, you were married last time we did this, weren't you?
No,
Or
I
you
got
get-
married last year.
I thought last time I was on with you, you had just gotten married because we talked about you were on the
Oh
mountains.
yeah, we did. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. I was on the mountains. Yes, that was that
Yes.
time. But anyways, we digress. So back to this, right? So okay, on the field, there's a checklist, all of those things. What about off the field? Like, how much do you pay attention to when they come off the field, when they're on the bench, like those kind of things?
Oh, that's huge for me. My opening line in emails or introductory emails or introductory direct messages, text messages, whatever you want to call it, any type of communication. The first thing I say is we're looking for people of high character,
Yeah.
high character and high quality. And
Yep.
if you come off the field, and the worst thing is the kid that you watch and you're like, man, they work so hard and this is going to be great, and they come off the side, and I can understand that mama mentality of coming off and being like, oh, like, I did this wrong, I did this. Like, I can totally get that,
Right.
but you can tell when it's just like when it's not a good energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the mama mentality.
Mm-hmm.
um
Right.
that's what kind of irritates me a little bit, or that player who is more concerned with trying to change the game without their play, like your comments to the officials, your comments to the other
Right.
team, your comments to your own coach. Like that's number one. Do you interact with the parents when they say something? Like if a parent says something bad to you, can you just forget about it and just keep
Right.
playing?
Mm-hmm.
So every because at the end of the day, we're investing in these players and we're investing scholarship money in them. And we want to make sure that that player represents our brand, because the moment they become a member of a college program, and as soon as you commit, the first, oh, I got to go change my Twitter bio, I got to change my Instagram bio, all this stuff.
Yeah, totally.
2027 committed, let's go. Like now that you've done that, you're attached to that. And as a
Yeah.
coach, what some coaches don't understand, but a lot of coaches do get it, and the kids don't understand, is once you've put that in your bio and what you do is attached to that coach in that program.
Oh, absolutely.
And if all of a sudden there's some news article that gets shared on social media that in a sectional final or state championship game, you got a red card for just something blatantly dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you still have that college in your profile, and people are going to
Yep.
think, well, they must be okay with that. So to me, like, character is a huge thing. And one of our good mutual friends, Dawn Crow,
Mm-hmm.
I've stolen this from her because it's so good. She's always said, if I wouldn't want to be stuck in an airport with you, I'm not going to recruit you.
I love that.
And I've always had that in the back of my mind. And I think, what's your reaction to coaching? Not like the coach itself, but like, are you a player that when a coach says, hey, here's something that I need you to do, or, you were doing this, but we need you to do this. Are you, I was, okay. So when I'm in this situation, you want me to, okay, yeah, I can do that. Not a problem. Are you that, or are you somebody who can't take, it's not even like time has progressed where like people couldn't take criticism, but now it's like they can't take coaching. And so like if you're a player in the game, where a massive pet peeve of mine, coaching club, coaching college, is telling the same player the same direction 12 times. And it's like, we can hear that on the sidelines recruiting. Like if you're a midfielder, and I know one of my players is going to hear this and be like, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about me. I'm not talking about her, but this happens. It's not about you. This happens every game I go to. A midfielder who doesn't come back to defend. And you'll hear the coach, hey, you got to get back to defend. You got to get back to defend. And the coach still has to continually say that. A, either that kid doesn't understand what their role is. B, the coach never clearly told what that role is. Or C, there's some type of miscommunication that maybe the player's just like, yeah, but I'm trying to score, which is all fine and gravy, but there's two sides to the ball. So I would say, like, off the field, obviously, as soon as I like a kid, and I think I said this on your show last time, as soon as I like a kid, from what I see, instantly start following them on social media. I want to see what they're about. I want to find out about their character. And if there's anything on there that's remotely sketchy, like there's a player that a couple years back, I really, 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 really loved this kid. I loved the way they played. Their energy was infectious. Like every break in a practice or a game, their coach was like, oh, like they're constantly dancing. They're making sure everybody's having a good time in the downtime. And I was like, this kid is awesome. However, when you get on their social media, it looks like all they do is party all the time. And you're just like, do you really want to take a risk on that? And so there's just so much that kids don't think about when it comes to their brand. And I guess that's going to be like the key word for this episode. There's so much things that they do to affect their brand that can negatively affect that recruiting process by their actions off the field, by their actions talking to coaches, talking to their own teammates. I can understand, as a defender, midfielder's not doing their job, not getting back. Hey, I need you to get here. I need you to get here to defend. And if you're just like, you're the defender, like, no, like that's not cool. Like your teammate needs you to do that. That's your role, is to step in front of them. So that's another tangent I could go on, but I'm not going to, because I know we're on time.
No, I mean, like there's so many good things there, right? So like starting at the beginning, it's really like when you come off the field, or how do you respond to a mistake? Like those things are huge, because you don't want a player that comes off the field and is a horrible teammate and pouts and argues with the ref and the coaches and all those things. But then also just like social media is huge, right? Like
Yeah.
most kids you're recruiting probably have social media, and it really is the brand. Like you don't want someone who's going to come in and misrepresent what Brescia
Right.
is about. And so it's almost, in my opinion, I think most coaches care more about the character of a kid than they do about the pure raw skill. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. It's pure raw skill. As a coach, our job isn't just recruiting the best players that we can just say, hey, go out there and play and win.
Yeah.
There's still that coaching aspect in it. So, skill, whatever it may be, no school is going to bring in, if they're bringing in 10 kids, not all 10 of those kids are going to be 5 stars, like there's kids that you're going to have to coach and develop in that. And even your kids that are 5 stars, you still want to develop them, because you never want to bring somebody in at their peak at 18 years old. Like you want to be able to grow for another 4 years. So like, that is such a huge piece of the experience for the kids at that school, because like I've always said, we've had a bunch of visits this week, and I tell all of our recruits, like, I've been trying to bring in players that A, have high character, A, are high quality, or B, I don't even know my letters, my alphabet, B, high quality, but C, I want players that, I want a recruit to look at our team and go, oh man, I'd love to play with her, because like what the two of us could do in the midfield, or oh man, the two of us as defenders, or oh, I'd love to play up top with her. Like we could really bounce off well. But I really want you to look at and be like, man, they are so nice and so friendly. Like I want to be their teammate. Like, and add that next step to it. Like, oh man, like I that's somebody I want to be friends with. That's somebody that for the next 3 years or 2 years, whatever it may be, how long that older player's there, that's somebody that I know I can be around, and I'm going to be a better me because of that person.
Right.
That goes a super long way.
Well, yeah, because the individual characters on your team, that's what is going to make up the culture, and the culture is what is going to make
And
up,
they
in
are
my opinion.
characters. They
Yeah,
are
the
characters.
characters, right? but yeah, that's what's going to make up the culture of the team, and then that's going to determine the success or lack of success of the team.
Yeah.
So that really is like such a huge part of it. And then getting into like, okay, standing out on the field and that kind of stuff, but there's how many, like, I don't know, millions of kids who are trying to get recruited, who are trying to play college soccer. And it's like there's a lot of fish in the sea.
Yeah.
So what can they do? And a lot of the fish are doing all the same things as far as reaching out to coaches and trying to get attention and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So what are some things that players can do when they're starting their communication with coaches to really, like, stand out and, get responses from coaches?
The generic thing that you would hear from a lot of coaches is, any communication, personalize it. Don't just copy and paste your email that you send to everybody. Look up something about our school. I'm just now getting to the point where it's like I'm starting to get annoyed when I get, hey, does your school have blah blah blah? Well, you could have gotten on our website and seen that,
All
or
right.
like,
Yeah.
So I guess I'm getting old maybe. Like before, like that stuff would have never gotten to me, but now it's like, just look up the website, like it's on there. But I think definitely something to make yourself stand out, like show that you've done the research, or if you have a tie to that school, whether it's, hey, here's this picture of me when I was 3 years old wearing a Utah State shirt, or whatever it may be. Just like find some type of connection. And that's the thing, like I really enjoy about NAIA, and I get this asked a lot because I started off at a Division I school about 10 years ago, then I went Division II, now I'm in NAIA. And my ability to communicate with anyone, like I've been posting, June 15 don't mean a dang thing to me. Like we can talk to anybody we want. And what I really try to do is build those relationships for a couple of years, freshman, sophomore year. And then when that junior year hits, like, okay, now we're really going to start getting, serious about our communication. But I think for me, it's like, I try to make sure that every kid that I talk to, that communication with them is different than the other kid that I have a communication with. So I try to like specialize that communication to where like that kid knows that conversation with us is real, because it's like, it's just me and them. And like, I know the things that they're interested in, and I'm constantly, talking with them and just checking in, see how things are going, how things are doing. And they know that it's personalized. Like I'm not copy and pasting my text and emails from that I've replied to other kids who ask me the same questions and put in like, I make sure that it's specific. So I think the more direct you can make that communication, and find that thing that just sets you apart. It's I get in trouble for saying this all the time, and people laugh at me because they think it's funny, but recruiting is so much like dating. Now, granted, I don't have the greatest track history of dating. I can count on one hand how many girls I went out with, and one of them was my wife. And I don't even use all like fingers and thumbs to count that. So there's so much similarities in what can you do to make yourself stand out. Like we've all been there, where Shay, I mean, your boy in college was always trying to like look dope and like, try to catch attention and stuff like that. Recruiting is the same way. What are you going to do that's going to catch that attention? Your highlight video, what sets it apart because of, and who knows how many millions and millions and millions, as The Rock says, of highlight tapes out there. What makes yours stand out to where like, oh man, this is the best highlight video I've seen? Or what is
Yeah.
it about your communication, your email, your text, your direct messaging, your social media that goes, they're different. They're different. And different in a good way, because we're
Yeah.
all different in good
Different
ways.
is a good thing. Yes.
Yeah. That's the story of my life.
Yeah.
So like, can you do something that sets yourself apart? And my wife is going to hear this and think that there's something wrong with me. Anybody who knows me, as Coach Shay does, I'm super extra. I
Oh
am
yeah.
very, very extra. Um, but like, there's a limit of like where you can go overboard on that. But
Yeah.
like, can you do just enough to stand out? And I try to make sure that if a kid is doing enough just to stand out, I'm going to do the same amount of trying to stand out to them as well. And that's the other thing too. Like, I don't know, in your reaction or your interaction with kids is like, I don't truly know that kids and families and whatnot truly know like how much time like a player that we're really, really interested in. Or for me, it's like play yours, because I just love everybody and I want to recruit everybody.
Hmm.
How much time we invest in those kids. And it's like the hardest part as a college coach, when you've invested all this time in talking to kids and the kid, talks to you about the same and things like that. And all of a sudden, like, that in their discussions with them, like, oh yeah, there's this school, but they don't really say much to me. They don't, send me stuff like you do, blah, blah. Well, then when the kid goes to that school and you're like, oh man, like that school didn't invest the same amount of, like, how much do you know that they really want you when they
Right.
didn't invest the same amount of time, whether it's myself or another school or whatever. Like, you got these three schools that are like on your door, yo, come out and play, let's go. And then
Yeah.
there's another school that's just like sitting over on the hood of their car, like, yo, you want to go?
Right.
Like,
Playing hard to get.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like, I think that's the biggest thing, is make yourself stand out, but recognize the schools that are investing a lot in you in that recruiting process. That's going to be where that fit goes, because there's obviously a reason they want you to be there.
Yeah, and I think that's something that they forget too, is that it is a two-way relationship. It's not just you saying, or the player being
It's
like,
not about
pick me,
me.
pick me, pick me, right? But also the school is like, it's like you're trying to find someone and they're trying to find someone. So
Yeah.
the analogy of dating actually is really good, and I've never thought of it that
I get
way.
so many eye rolls when I say
It's
that.
it's true,
And there was somebody
right?
who was like, that's very controversial. And I was like, how? Like
Well, you could
the
make
two things are
anything
the same thing.
controversial. I mean,
Right.
don't make it controversial, but like it really is like dating, because it's a two-way relationship. Each of you
Yeah.
is trying to get the attention. Each of you is trying to, show your best impression and like all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I personally I like that analogy.
There we go.
And it really is about relationship building. It's not just about like sending the email. If you can start building a relationship as a freshman, like, obviously it's not like you're going to get an offer right away and or like in the next year, but start building the relationship and cultivate the relationship instead of just going from one school to the next and like, having this major instant gratification that most people have. You know what I mean?
Because the relationship that you'll build with one coach, if you try to
Hmm.
force that same type of relationship build with another, there's a pretty good
Yeah,
chance it's not gonna be the same. So
absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
let that relationship naturally build, and that's where you're really going to find out like what's a good fit for you, is not only that relationship with the coach, but maybe the school as well. Like, have you met admissions counselors? Have you met the professors and things like that? And what were
Yeah.
those relationships like? Because at the end of the day, I know this is a recruiting podcast about soccer at the moment in time, but like, what happens if that sport ends your sophomore year?
Hmm.
What happens if you get
Right.
hurt? And I don't want that to happen to anybody, but like at some point, sports end. Is that
Yeah.
still a place that you're going to want to go when that time comes? And so make sure that you have that same relationship with the coach or the coaching staff. Make sure you build that same type of relationship with the department of the major that you want to study, or the admissions counselors and things like that.
Yeah, again, it's not just about just like when we talked about, what you look for on the field, it's a three-dimensional player, but also you have to look at every part of the university. And I think that's a great question to ask yourself. Like, if this sport was no longer, would I still want to go here? If the
Mhm.
answer is no, then like maybe you need to, take a look at that a little bit, because it could end literally at any moment. It could end for whatever reason. And so you have to be confident in your full decision, like with the full experience of the university. So
Yep.
yeah. And you mentioned too, highlight videos, like standing out on your highlight videos. So how necessary are they these days? Is it like a must have for you?
Yeah, I'm big on analogies. I've always said that. Well, here, I'm. This is me prepping for camp here in a couple weeks, because I always have to talk about this
Yep.
at our ID camps and our recruiting seminars. So Shay, there's a movie that you just absolutely have to see, and you can't wait for it to come out on demand. I was gonna get ready to say on DVD. You can't wait for it to come out on demand. You have to go see it in the theaters. Why? What is it that makes you have to go see that movie in the theaters?
Yeah, the what do you call it? The preview,
The
what's it called?
trailer.
The
The
trailer.
trailer.
The trailer. That's the word. The trailer. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
highlight video is
Yeah,
your
the
movie
trailer.
trailer. Like,
Mm.
your highlight video should be enough that that's what makes the coach go, I have to go see them in person.
I like that.
And because we are not in the soccer world. As much as I wish that, we were Nick Saban at Alabama and I could just go hop on a
Just
jet
go
and go watch a
wherever.
kid on a Friday night and watch the quarterback toss the ball and all that. We can't do that. That's why there's college showcases for soccer, so that we can see the most kids at one
Yep.
time. That's going to be cost effective for us.
Yep.
So get that highlight video that makes me go, okay, I've got to find somewhere where this kid's playing. And I'm in that boat right now with a few kids like we're talking to. It's like I've seen their highlight videos and they're just like in various parts of the country. And I'm like, oh, like I literally like can't go to that one area for one game. Like I've got to figure out a way somewhere that they're playing that I can go see X amount of players or kids.
Yeah.
And so that highlight video is the movie trailer. And I've also likened it to for folks that are my age and older, we remember cars before there were cassette tapes and 8 tracks. Like you just had a radio in the car. Or if you decide you don't want to like listen to a CD or whatever, like you put on a station, you listen to a song for 3 seconds. Nope, not that one. You change the knob. Listen to that song. Nope, and you're searching for 3 seconds that hey, I'm going to listen to the rest of the song.
Yeah.
Highlight videos are the same way. I can watch a highlight video and I know in that first 5-10 seconds if I'm going to keep watching it or not. Wow. So you got to get that attention, because like a movie trailer is such a perfect thing of like, there's the beginning where you see who's in the movie and you're like, oh, that's my favorite actor, actress. And then there's a little bit in the middle that's like, this is what it's about. And this is the meat and potatoes. And then all of a sudden the bang at the end is like, just using soccer, like there's all these fantastic goals or saves or tackles that are being made of like, I've got to go watch it.
Gotta go see it. Yeah.
That's what the highlight video's got to be. So like, I don't know that I've seen a quote unquote perfect highlight video, but to me, one that makes me say, I have to go see this kid. That to me is like, that's as good as it can get. Because I think some people can do way too much on them. Some people can also do way too little on them too. So just think about like, all right, in the span of, because I think even movie trailers are only like 2 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
Or 3 minutes something. So like, just keep that thought process in your mind. Like, all right, I need to make a movie trailer. I'm going to hit some bangers at the beginning, some meat and potatoes, some dirty work. This is my work ethic. This is the meat and potatoes of what you're going to get. Oh, by the way, I bang goals too. Like, that to me is like, for a forward or something like that. Like that would be a massive highlight video that I would watch the entire thing for.
I think the biggest thing, well, you said a lot of great things, but I think one of the biggest things I want people to get is that those first 5 to 10 seconds, like that's everything. Like coaches are insanely busy. So if your first 5 to 10 seconds is boring, like you're not gonna watch. Right. And so that's huge that, like you said, it's like, okay, let's get some really good stuff in at the beginning. And then let's get in like the grunt work, the other stuff that's super important, but not as like, eye catching, I guess. And then let's hit some bangers at the end and like leave it like a cliffhanger. Almost.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like you want to see more. Like
what was the, I hate admitting this. The perfect movie trailer was Frozen 2. Where it was it was a minute 30 seconds of Elsa. She's the Snow Queen. Yep. Elsa's like walking along this beach and she's looking out at this ocean that she's got to go through, and she runs and she makes the ice and she can't get there, and she does this like 3 or 4 times, and then it's like a close up of her face. She wipes the sweat off, fixes her top, and then just goes and runs, and you like see her get past the point of where she got before, and then it cuts and it's like in theaters, Christmas or whatever it was.
Right.
I'm not a Frozen guy, but yeah, I've got 2 kids, but I was like, yeah, I've got to see this.
I got to go.
Yeah. So like, be Elsa.
Be Elsa. Like that is, who knew that we were going to talk about for the Frozen trailer today and how relevant it is for college recruiting. But hey, like that makes total sense. And
well, you realize who you're talking to. So it's not going to be the most orthodox chat.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, that I'm sure there are plenty of people listening, that maybe they like Frozen 2, or maybe they have siblings that watch that.
Welcome to Recruiting for Dummies. I'm your host, the biggest dummy of them all.
Oh my gosh, so funny. So communication. I have another question on communication that I think everybody is wanting me to ask. Maybe, maybe not. But it's like so many kids ask me like, how often do I reach out? Like I don't want to be annoying, but like I don't want them to forget about me. So like I know there may not be like one answer here, but just talk about like I guess the frequency of communication. What do you like?
I think it comes into, I know every coach is different. I have coaching friends who are like, oh, I'm so annoyed. Like they send me something all the time. And then I know coaches who are like, as soon as you send something, they send something right back. So I think you can kind of grasp that frequency sample from the coach that you're speaking with. So if let's say you email a coach on a Monday, they reply maybe Tuesday, maybe early Wednesday, you know that they'll get back to you within time frame, but like you probably don't want to send them something every day if it's going to take them 2 days to respond to you. Um, my problem is that if you text me, like I'm going to respond right then.
Yeah.
Because I know like everybody in the world, even high school students, if you go on their phones and look at their email app, there's a red notification that has multiple commas in
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh
Everybody's
yeah.
the same way. So like, just shoot me a text. And to me, that's such an easier, for me personally, it's such an easier form of communication than emailing, because it's more direct and it's more frequent. And I'm a person that my frequency is pretty high. I'm constantly talking.
Yep.
Um, and and if I'm doing something with my family, I'll probably respond like, hey, like I'm doing this with my family. Like, I'll message you back here in a little bit, stuff like that. So every
Yeah.
coach is different, but I think that as a player, you can tell what that frequency should be just off of what that coach's frequency back to you. Like if you're
Okay.
texting a coach and they don't respond for like 2 hours, like you probably don't want to text that person frequently.
Mhm.
Or if they take 2 days to respond, like you probably don't want to. And it's the same way for coaches. Like
Yeah.
if a kid emails me and I email them right back, I try to do a good job of that. If not, I try to at least get it done by the next morning. Um, Although I'm sure some kids look at my emails like, man, he sent this at 3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
But like, and if I respond back quickly and I don't hear from you for like another week, okay, well, I'm not gonna send a follow up email the next day. Hey, I just want to make sure you got my email. Like, you can tell the frequency on both sides as a
Yeah.
coach and as a player.
Okay, so again, it's like dating. Like if someone's not
Yes.
texting you back, it's not like you're gonna text them back and like right away and be like, "Hey, did you get this?" Like it's kind of common sense in a way, but I think with college recruiting, we tend to overcomplicate it and like it's like this big scary thing where it's like, they look up to a coach and you're like up on this pedestal and so I think they get nervous a lot too and so it's
That
this
is that is such a big
overthinking.
thing for me. Is so many kids are like, I'm so scared to reach out, or
Yeah.
I'm scared to talk to you. I don't know. Like I'm gonna start carrying a sign. Like people, once they start talking to me, understand I am the easiest person to talk to.
Yeah.
And like, the one thing I do enjoy is like when I have that communication process with recruits, like, and especially like when they commit, most of them all like, when you ask like, well, why did you pick us? What were things that you like? And so many kids have told me like having a conversation with you in the recruiting process was not like talking to another coach. Like I was talking to another person who was like along for the ride with me.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that kind of gets misconstrued is there's a lot of us coaches out there who are like super dope people, but
Yeah.
if you like, as awkward as you make it, we're going to make it that awkward back. Or, as nervous as you
Yep.
are, we're probably just going to make it worse. Or, I try to, man, like Zoom calls lately have been not the specific week, but like Zoom calls in the last year or so. I mean, kids just being like, and I'm like, look, like you're in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
We are many, many miles away via the interwebs. Like
Yep.
you should be like, you are in your home. You should be as relaxed as possible. Like, can't nobody do nothing right now.
Right.
And so like, if anything,
Yeah.
it should be more nerve wracking for us coaches, but I can
Mhm.
understand where like, gosh, and it's so much worse now because of social media. And I know that like social media is my favorite thing in the world, but like, I can see now where the access to coaches that like what we give people where they can see who we are and see about our families,
Mhm.
see about our programs where that can kind of be like over the top and like make it seem like this is some like big high and mighty. Perfect example. 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, I was in North Carolina at Duke University camp. Family
Yeah.
and I were walking campus and everything. And I see John Shire, who's the new men's basketball coach. Literally, the one job no one would want is replacing Coach K.
You're
And
right. Oh my
this
gosh.
is his first head coaching job, and he's replacing the greatest coach of all time.
Right.
And I see him, and I'm like, I'm gonna go say hello to him. Plus, I'm a big Duke fan. Like,
Yep.
why would I not? It was my birthday too, so I was like, I think I'm allowed to go say hi to him. So I walk up. I was like, "Hey, Coach Shire, my name's Shaun Soderling. I'm a college soccer head coach. So I'm a college head coach just like yourself." And I was so like, I had heard so many stories about him when he was a student. I had heard stories about him as a coach, which didn't make sense because he's the number one recruiter in the country and he's great at building relationships with these players. I'm like, there's something that's missing here that I don't get. And I introduced myself and he starts smiling. He goes, "Do you got any tips for me?" And I was
Oh,
like, and he said it in a joking way, and I was like, "No, you don't want
right.
any from me, dude." And he kind of laughed, and he was just a regular dude. And I think
Yeah.
that these pictures and these videos that their team creates for their social media of him on the private jet with his sunglasses looking dope
Yes.
as can be, flying to go somewhere to recruit. I can get where a kid now is like, oh my gosh, oh my
Totally.
gosh. Because like thinking about when I was a kid, dreaming of playing college basketball or dreaming of playing college soccer, and the pedestal that these coaches were on then without social media, like to think of it now as a student athlete
Yeah.
and seeing that, like if I'm a kid, I see all these videos of Nick Rizzo going crazy on the sideline celebrating with his team and all this cool stuff he's doing with his new baby boy. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like Nick Rizzo, he's gonna hate me for saying all that. But like I can totally get where the nerves come from for kids.
Yeah,
But
totally.
what I try to do, and I think other coaches are the same way, is we try to use those platforms to like showcase like we're just normal
You're
people.
normal. Yeah.
Yeah, and I and
Right.
I am the worst soccer coach to follow on social media because my social media is probably like 25% soccer. If that's a big reach because there's so
Yeah,
much more to me than just soccer. Like, and
absolutely.
I want people to know that. So there shouldn't be any nerves in that communication. And I think if there is nerves, a great way I've always told kids is I've really been trying to use the NAI as an education tool.
Yeah.
And if you are nervous about talking to college coaches on June 15th, oh my gosh, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for making fun of June 15th, but it is what it is. We've made it into this holiday for whatever reason.
Right.
But if you're so nervous about talking to coaches on June 15th of your junior year, reach out to an NAIA coach who can talk to you. Maybe there's one in your
Right.
town that that coach. Maybe that coach coaches in your club. Hey, I can I do an interview with you, or could I
Yeah.
do a recruit call with you to know what it's going to be like when these schools can start calling me? It's the
Yeah.
same thing I do for my players who want to get into coaching. I have them call friends of mine and set up job interviews or coaching interviews, fake
Yeah.
mock ones, where they
Yeah.
can learn like, hey, this is what a college coach is going to ask me to be
Oh
an
my gosh.
assistant in an interview. Use that. There's such a lack of education about communication rules with other
Oh
divisions
yeah.
that clubs are not giving kids.
Mm-mm.
And to where now, like that's the kind of thing that I've been doing with clubs now is like, hey, like if you got kids that like need to get prepared for that June 15th, like have them reach out to me and like I'll totally do a Zoom call with them or message with them so that way they can like get that first one under their belt to
Yeah.
go, okay, like this is not what I thought it was going to be.
That's brilliant. Like literally, that's awesome, Shaun. Like anybody could go and call
Brilliant
up
and Shaun
someone.
Soderling are things that have never been
That's
spoken
the only
together,
time.
but
that-
I'm glad that this is on the record and I can like clip that and just I'm going to play it as my ringtone.
Yeah, Shaun, that's brilliant. Shaun, you're brilliant. That is brilliant
Stop. I'm
because
not going to be able to walk out my door now.
it really is. Like, think about it. Like, of course you're nervous and you may not get the opportunity to practice and to talk to someone. So it's like, yeah, call up an NAIA school and see if you can just talk to them and get some experience that way. And I love that so much because anybody could do that.
Yeah.
And it gives you that practice. And also like going back to the whole like coaches are just normal people, like if this episode should literally prove that coaches are just normal people, and right, you're like, you're the most normal dude, like in the most weird and different way, but also like my episode with Dawn, right? Like just normal people. And like, so it's no different than going and talking to your crazy old uncle or something, you know?
Yeah.
So just realize that they're normal people. They have normal emotions. They may be nervous too. They probably want to work with you too. And so it's just like, it's again, it's this dating thing where it's not like they're like way above you. You guys think of yourselves more on like level playing field. It's just human to human communication.
Right.
Love that. Beautiful. So Shaun, tell us all about you're going on tour with your boy band. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds like it, right? You're going on tour. Tell us about the tour. Like, what's the tour? Where are you going? And like, because I'm sure there's people listening that you may be in their city. So where,
Yeah.
where are you going to be?
And I might have to pull this up because I have like I have the areas memorized, but I don't have like the specific cities.
Okay.
But the tour is kind of something that has taken a life of its own in the last few years, where I used to just do like a couple of camps in the summertime, and I do the exact sports camps, and I just like for whatever reason I never really realized like they do them all over the country. Like I was just so stuck in like the Midwest region of doing. I just did only Chicago for a few years, and then it was like, oh, you can go to Detroit too, and hey, like we're gonna do in Indianapolis, or we're gonna do Nashville, Atlanta, stuff like that. And I just remember one time being like, man, like I want to be a tour guy. And there's only a couple coaches recently that have done the full loop the whole summer, because it is a lot of time away from family or from home and whatnot. But I'm doing the full loop this year minus two. So I missed Tampa, Florida because it was on my birthday and I was with my family in North Carolina and I was at Duke camp. And I'm going to miss the very last one because our kids are moving back that week for
Yep.
Brescia. So the summer tour really comes from um, I using the word different. I always try to do something that's different than everyone else, which is a big shocker to anybody who knows me.
For sure.
This. And so like years ago, I would do like on the recruiting trail, and I'd put a picture of a state with like a little thing where the city's at, and put the city name and the event that I was at, and I have many friends who are like, hey, like that's super cool. Can you make me one? Or like, hey, I want to tell my department to do that. And I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. And so it's now you see all these things of the picture of the state and the coach who's going to be there, things like that. So then last year I was okay, we got to change this up. So I did a video version where I would do a video from that location, that there was a on the recruiting trail graphic with a phone. So it was like I was calling you. And then I just thought this year, seeing, everybody back on the road and posting, this state at this time and whatnot. And I was like, well, instead of just saying one, like, why don't I just say everywhere that I'm going? So that way, if a kid's going to be there, they're like, oh, hey, I'm going to be at that one too. I'm going to reach out to this guy. So the other night I looked up music concert posters, and I found a combination of the current, or it may have been current, I know it was recent, Justin Bieber tour poster, and a country artist. I know I'm going to butcher the name. I think it's Thomas Rhett. Thomas Rhett.
Yeah.
There was things on both of theirs I like, so I really kind of took the like neon colors of the Bieber one.
Yeah.
But then with like kind of the font styles were the same of Thomas Rhett. And the original picture I had done was me sitting on my front porch with my suitcase, like in a rocking chair, like ready to get on the bus and go. And then I realized like I didn't look good in it, so I was gonna use it. So I took one in my backyard because and I'm looking out my back window right now. I have like the most beautiful view of southern Indiana in the backyard. It's a massive field of, I don't have my glasses on, so I think it's corn. And to the left, there's this big red barn. Like when you think of southern Indiana, you look at my backyard, that's what it is. And the barn's not mine, nor is the cornfields. But I want to get that in the background, so I might get my picture taken. And we just moved into this house a few months ago, and we still don't have grass yet. So I'm like, oh, there's all this dirt on the ground. So I used like the sky as like a natural light and like looked off in a different direction and posted it. And when I posted it with all the tour dates or all the camp dates and put, summer USA tour 2022, and
Uh,
I used my signature and put it in like neon lights and stuff, and I called it the Build the Belief tour, because really anytime I go out on the road, it's trying to get people to see the vision for this program
yeah.
and believe in it just like I do. So I thought, because I think Bieber had something one year, it was like the Believe tour or something like that.
Okay.
And I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, like that, I can kind of like use my Build the Belief hashtag that I always use, and like, yeah, the
Yep.
Build the Belief tour. Um, and so I used that and I posted it, and Sand and Stitch instantly responded to the tweet and was like, I want tour t-shirts. And I was like, no, like I didn't even think about it. I was like, no, don't put that in my mind. Well, then like recruits and like kids who like I don't know if I'm in the recruiting process when they follow me are all like, we want concert tour t-shirts. I was like, no, like I can't do this. So my wife got the grand idea, because I had done my June dates already, and I was like, well, I need to do a new one that's just July. And she's like, well, like you should do a different picture that's like even more summertime. And I was trying to think, and my daughter Quinn was like, why don't you do one by the pool? And I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh
that's right.
yeah. So we were going to the pool that day. I grabbed a Brescia shirt, grabbed a hat, found my pink flamingo shorty short swim trunks, threw them on. I cut the dogs out of the picture so you couldn't see the sandals. And it's just me sitting on a diving block. And I was just like, all right, this is pretty cool, and
Yep.
posted it, and just like the same thing. And the thing I love about doing stuff like that is, like I said, like I've since of posting that, I've had like one specific, I'm going to I cannot pronounce the city's name. Uh Temecula, California. Temecula.
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 Come on,
I
Shaun.
okay, so I can do
It's
people's
fine.
names. I can't do city names
It's
very
fine.
well.
Temecula.
Temecula, I am sorry. I'm going to be with you soon.
Yeah,
I
it's
apologize.
close to LA.
Yeah, so well, I'm flying into San Diego. I know that much. So
Yeah, in
like
between.
posting that, and obviously like the website shows like what coaches are going to be there,
Yep.
and my name's been on there for a long time, but like
Yep.
as soon as I put these graphics out, I've had like of the 400 kids that are going to be in Temecula. I've had like 30 kids email me, hey, I saw the
Nice.
summer tour, you're going to be at in California, so am I. I live there,
Awesome.
or I'm from Hawaii and I'm flying in for that one. Or there's a girl from Australia who's flying into that one, and she was like, I saw you're going to be in California on the summer tour. I also think you're going to Australia with your team.
Oh
I
my
can't wait to meet
gosh.
you. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just different way, like again, it's just like a different way of thinking
Yeah.
about recruiting from a coaching standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I've said before, like I really just look at what college football does. I look at what college basketball does. I'm like, well, college soccer can have that too. And then,
Yeah.
okay, well, how can I put my own spin on it? All right, well, I've done I'm at this state graphic, and like other
Uh-huh.
coaches have done. And then it's like, okay, well, what can I do now? All right, I'm gonna do the summer tour, because that's kind of an inside joke with a lot of my coaching friends. Is like, all right, where's the tour going to this year? So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm tired of getting made fun of for it, so why not just embrace it? So every
Yeah.
year there will be a tour poster that's
Love that.
on the social media, so people can see where all I'm heading.
While you're talking, I'm gonna find it. Is it on Brescia's Twitter?
It should be theirs and mine. I know it's on their
Okay.
Instagram. There, it's on
Oh
our
yeah.
Instagram, and I go it's on my Twitter too.
Okay. So if you're on YouTube, I'm gonna show the poster. Let me share my screen here. Yeah, that's dope, as Shaun would say. All right. So if you're on Twitter, here it is. Here's the pink flamingo shorts. Or sorry, not on Twitter. If you're on
Yeah.
YouTube. So here we go. So okay, Shaun. So you're going to July 1st. Well, that's you. That's your prospect day.
Yes, sir.
Temecula, July 6th through the 8th. Fredericksburg, Virginia, July 9th through the 11th. Chicago, Illinois, the 14th through the 15th. North Branford, Connecticut, the 17th through the 19th. Plano, Texas, the 21st through the 23rd. And Durham, North Carolina, 28th through the 29th.
North Kakalaki.
So we'll put that in the show notes and stuff, so people can go and like look at the dates and everything and see if
Cool.
they're, because I guarantee you there's some kids listen to this podcast who are going to some of those camps
Mhm.
So yeah, should they how can they reach out to you? How can they find you? All that good stuff.
Oh man, find me on all social media at Coach Soderling. I do have to preface, most people are like, man, but your Instagram is private. The only reason my Instagram is private is because the Instagram bots drive me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to be able to confirm like who can actually see my stuff. So
For
like,
sure.
I don't want just some random bot being able to follow me. Like I don't want followers that way. Like I want
Yep.
actual people. So
Yep.
my Instagram is private, but I can tell you like it's basically the same thing as my Twitter, except a lot more pictures of my family
Yep.
than on Twitter. But Coach Soderling everywhere.
Okay.
You can follow the sisterhood at Brescia WSOC on all platforms. We're on TikTok as well. We're getting better at it. It drives me crazy because my team is TikTok obsessed and they make TikToks all the time. But when it comes like, hey, like I need a TikTok for our team account.
Yeah.
But you know how I am in making videos. And I'm like,
Oh my
you
gosh, that's
literally make a
funny.
video
Every
every
day.
day.
Yeah,
Um,
multiple a day.
but
That's so
so
funny.
you can find us on TikTok. Nick
Cool.
just started a TikTok account and
Awesome.
it's called Soccer Coach Dad. And
Oh,
I've had some
cool.
people who are like, you need to do one as well. And I'm like, well, why don't I just take his? And like we do a shared account, but I've gotten some pretty cool ideas on some TikToks I want to do. So
Man.
maybe part of the summer tour is that I'm going to be debuting
Ooh.
a new platform which people can follow on. And who knows what's all going to happen on that? Because
So many fun things.
I love doing vlogs and stuff like that. Like I'm
Oh
definitely
yeah.
doing a tour vlog again this summer,
Yep.
which I think I've posted before, like my previous loop that I did. And it also the thing I love about that too is like when kids follow me, like when I see a kid on social media and like I see their posting of them training, I see their games, like I can see that
Totally.
grind.
Yep.
I want you to see my grind too. I don't want you to just see the picture of I'm going to be at this place at this time.
Yep.
I'm going to take you on the plane with me, all kinds of
Totally.
stuff like that. So I figured, yeah, I can do the vlog too, but like I could do that TikTok that's more of like in the moment and things like
Yep.
that. And people know that I love to dance and I need a platform
Yep.
to dance on. So apparently that's where people
There
do
you
it
go.
at. And
There you go.
I realized I was on the ECNL girls TikTok account
Oh yeah.
from the Murfreesboro showcase. And I was walking up and Tori McCool that runs it and Lauren Hutchison ran it at the time.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, like, can we interview you? And I was like, yeah, sure. And they were like, oh my gosh, like we could hardly interview, like nobody will let us interview them. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't care. And so I did the interview with them and they put it on there and they're like, okay, super, thank you. And I was like, wait a minute. You keep having all these kids on to dance with them and you're doing all these cool dance videos and you're not going to ask me to do it. You just want to do an interview with me. And Lauren was like, do you want to dance? And I was like, please.
She was probably so excited.
Oh, her and Tori, and like there was a team that was kind of like around us while we were filming the interview, and they were like, "You're gonna dance?" I was like, "Yeah, like I love to dance." So they taught me one real quick. I think we did 2 takes of it just to get it
Uh-huh.
right,
Uh-huh.
and they posted it, and just like the views started going crazy. And then people started following our account.
Oh
My
my gosh.
players found it, and one of my girls who was going to be a senior this year goes, Coach, I've known you for 2 years. I've never seen you dance, nor have I seen you dance like that. I'm kind of upset. And I'm like, well, like I'm not going to show all my cards at
But
once.
yeah,
So,
when the
but
time is
yeah.
right, it'll come out.
So I guess I broke the secret here that the summer tour is also going to be the debut of Coach Soderling TikTok.
Man, well, I don't have a TikTok and I promised myself I would never get one.
Me too. That's the
But like,
problem. So it's like I got one for the
yeah.
team as like that's my one, but like
Yeah.
now seeing like that's kind of the new reach for
It
kids.
is. It
Like
is.
I got to.
Yeah, you got to. And for me, it's like I probably still won't get one, at least not right now, but can still go on TikTok and watch your
Yeah,
videos. Like I can
absolutely.
go on just with not on the app or whatever, or get on my
Mhm.
wife's TikTok and go watch your videos. So
There you go.
everyone, like first off, go check out the schedule of Shaun's tour so you can, go say hi, go check it out.
I like how
And
we've turned this
then
into like I'm a musical act touring the country.
I know you're a rock star with your band going on tour. And then follow him on Twitter, Instagram, follow Brescia on Instagram, Twitter, and then TikTok too. And
Mhm.
then just watch all the cool stuff go down. So yeah, Shaun, thank you so much for coming on. It's always so fun to have you on. And not only is it fun, but also hopefully people got a lot out of it too, because you spit some fire. So it was really good. So I appreciate you having you on.
It's more fun being on with you. I love coming on here, and it has been so cool to see how much your platform has grown since I made my prediction 3 years ago in August. On I think I made that prediction at like 11:45 at night. To see like what you're doing, and to those who are listening and watching, like, I'm not just saying this as a supporter of Shay and what she's been doing, but the fact that the impact that Shay has had on our players, but more importantly, the impact that Shay has made on my own daughter. When it comes to everything, she's got the She is Confident, or She the Confident book. Quinn's passed it around to some of her friends, and
Yep.
I've had some friends of Quinn's, or parents of Quinn's friends, like, hey, like, what's this book that we hear about? We got to get. I'm like, She the Confident.
Yep.
So it's not I never put my name on something that I don't believe in, that I've not been able to actually experience. So to be a part of this program with you, it's, like I said, it's more fun for me to be on here with you, because you're so insightful and you have such a great conversation style to all this. And you, Shay,
you.
are crazy dope. And if I want to continue the dopeness, I got to be on Coach Shay show.
That's the best compliment I could have gotten, that I'm crazy dope. So,
Well, I don't think you've fully shown it to the YouTube folks yet, but can you show everybody that shirt you're rocking?
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Look at that.
Brescia Soccer Australia 2023.
That's
Are
right.
these still for sale?
We just did a store a couple months ago, but we'll be doing another one here pretty soon.
I can be a model for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I did a graphic one time, because I did a tweet where it was like, if you bought one, send me a picture of you wearing it. And I got your picture, although you had longer hair at that time, so we may need an updated one. We'll need an updated one, portrait mode if you can. And we'll make another thing out, and I'll put, if Coach Shay's rocking it, you can rock it too, and support our team as we go to the Women's World Cup in Australia and get to work with the Australian national blind team and teach our players to coach adaptive soccer.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's so cool.
Wow. We'll do that for another episode before.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that'll be awesome. We could do like a pre or post World Cup show.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right, Shaun. Well, thanks again for coming on. We love you. And
no problem. Love you too, Coach Shay.
See
Keep rocking. Let's go, baby.
Bye, guys.